faster. I don't know if I am.
Hello, thank you, and welcome to 4 p.m. everyone. My name is Dean Stevenson, and 4 p.m. has been running for some time here at Mona, and I'll explain a bit about it as we go. For those who have just arrived and don't really know what's going on apart from bright lights and a curtain and a bar, the following statement may know nothing to you, which is today's piece was not written today. You might go, well, duh. Well, actually, no, the idea of this installation is that a brand new piece is written every day. So the blank page this morning at 10 o'clock is gradually filled by myself at that piano, and we haven't heard today's piece yet because I've only just printed it and the musicians are about to play it for us. And we'll do a thing called a rehearsal. So we'll stop and start as we put today together, and then we'll run it all the way through, and maybe we'll play yesterday's as well, which was interesting. And I'll take it. If at any point you don't know what we're doing, ask them questions, because I'm going to keep the mic on. So it's an open session, very informal, and if you can't quite hear at the back, just kind of squeeze in closer, go get a drink at the bar, and have a lovely time. All right, is that okay? Good? Great. Okay, so the musicians for today, Miranda, Fran, Will, and Brett. So there's some rules I made for myself with this installation. That is, it's always the same instruments. Not the same players so much, about a dozen players, but it's the same instruments. So that idea that I face the same sound set every day and have to try and make that new. The piece we just heard as the curtain went up was from day 195, and today is day 251. So it's a new piece each day. I'm getting a bit tired. I think I've missed summer. Apparently it went on for a few months. It's been a nice week, they tell me. I don't know.
It was great.
It was great, yeah. Thanks, Will. It's great. The only sun I have is that there. It's like, you know, the Parthenon. Who's been to the Parthenon in Rome? And you walk across that big floor and there's that big beam of light, you know, the kind of the eye of God, all that stuff. That's my Parthenon. That's where the boss lives, and he looks at me as though, no, he doesn't really. Actually, it does sometimes. But so I'm here all day writing pieces of music, and we're about to start to work it. So please, if you have any questions that you've always wanted to ask of a composer or of a cellist or a violinist, then prepare. If you don't know what we're talking about while we put this together, also ask. Is that okay? Okay. Here we go. Day 251. Right then, everyone. This one's a fairly serviceable kind of piece, I think.
I'm not saying.
Will's often very early with the questions, and it's usually because I write things that he can't play. Not that he's unable to play and doesn't want to play, just unplayable. That's my fault. Okay, here we go. First bar is just viola. 2, B. Okay, hold there, see if there's any questions there. Okay, so it's a sight read off the page. They're very good, aren't they? Very clever. So I have some things to say about myself, is that this kind of music, just sometimes after 251 days, all manner of things arrive on the page. Sometimes it's the fucking theme from Jurassic Park, you know, it literally just comes, I've heard that before. Other days I write something like this that is a music that I probably wouldn't listen to at home. I'm in 20 years like drums and bass in pubs. I got a gig in town tonight playing double bass, just singing songs, songs of the 30s and 40s. So this isn't in my history. This isn't in my ears as a child. But when you write for these instruments, they bring their history with them, and you can't ignore it. I can't write a song and you go, oh, that sounds like Radiohead. No, it's not from those instruments. So there's a weird rub here. Let's have another go at that. Everyone's cool. Any problems there? And then I'll come and see if you have any questions. Okay. Was it fast enough? Maybe just a touch. Just a touch up a bit.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. 2, B. Sorry. I was busy talking to the crowd.
Talking to the crowd.
It's okay.
Expecting it.
Let's go from there. Let's go from into A.
So 2 beats before A?
2 beats before A. There's a second violin solo here. Nice and smooth. C. Hold there before we go any further to make a dynamic note. So we have 2 after 3 after C goes to piano, at D, crescendo from D, so 4th bar in crescendo from D, 4th bar in mezzo forte.
So it's the bar before E, mezzo forte.
Yep, that's it. Mezzo forte is a fancy way of saying moderately loud. Mezzo, moderately, forte means loud in Italian, piano means quiet. So I've often wondered, and I've said this before, historically we had many evolutions of this instrument we now call the piano. When it was invented, I first called it the pianoforte, which in Italian means soft loud. That's the dumbest name for an instrument I've ever heard. The soft loud. What do you play? Guitar? Bass? No, I play the soft loud. Anyway, that's what we call it. So piano is soft. Let's go then from D, please.
Its defence, it could play soft and loud.
It can play soft and loud. That's right. But that's like calling me clever dumb, isn't it? Sometimes I'm clever, sometimes I'm dumb. From D to D. Someone's leading over the seas, or someone's just died. Oh, that's sorry. There's a comma there, but in beat before beat 3 of that bar before I. B, button 3, 4 is in first 5. Does anybody have any questions so far? Are we saying stuff you don't understand? Please ask. Hello, balcony people. Nice to see you too. All good? Okay, good go. Yes, from H. H. On the front foot. To D. So there's a rit before, so there's a comma at beat into beat 3 of that bar before J. So it's the first.
And then the third and fourth beats slower.
Third and fourth beats are the slower, just into the Adante. Yes. Yep. So do you want to run that bar before we go into the stop at J? Let's go from I, please. I, which is first beat 4. Which is you maybe slur those quavers, please, Brent. Yeah, because when you go back to the arco.
Sure. And where does the Rit start in 77?
The Rit will start at 1, 2, 3. Yeah,
so the whole bar sort of.
The whole bar, yeah. First has 3, 4, and.
On the beginning of 78 or in the middle?
In the middle. So right on 78, A tempo, right on bar 78. R tempo means go back to the first tempo. After you've slowed down, go back to R tempo. Okay. Yes. On bar 58, can you make those crotchets short, please? Yeah. Bar. Yeah. Let's go from there then. 58. 58 through B. That's better. That's it. That's the last bar. Okay. Thank you.
So it looks like we pushed
So now I'm going to ask the
the
musicians if they have any more questions. I'll ask you if you have any more questions. Is anybody curious or just dumbfounded or wants to know something? It's okay if you don't. I didn't have any inspiration today apart from the notes itself, yes? How many minutes can I write? That depends on many factors. Depends on how fast or slow the music is. Depends on the density of the notes I put on the page. Depends on how much I had to drink last night. And depends on, many things. I think that the shortest one was 2.5 minutes. I had 2.5 minutes. The longest is about between 9 or 11 minutes, yeah. So the first 150 days that I did here at 4 p.m, there was 11.2 hours of continuous music written during that time. Some of which is a little spot, a little coaster thing on your table and a QR code. That takes you to Bandcamp and you can hear the 16 tracks that I went, the lightning struck on those days. So of all the 150, I've recorded 16 and they're available there. I've also got the CD or downloading and buy from me here right up at the shop. And soon I'm going to publish my journals from those 150 days. There's a book coming out. We started again and there's more, it's amassing hours and hours and hours and hours of music, and most of which won't be heard again, and that's kind of the idea. I'm interested as a performer, also as a parent, and then having done some teaching, when I recognise that more in teaching than anywhere else. I recognise the point in myself and in students when we start to do something, and maybe we really early on, you do something like, chisel to the wood or note to a page, and you do one thing and go, either that's terrible, I'm ashamed of myself, I'll never do that because it's not as good as, then you list off all your heroes. Or the other thing is, you do something and it's really good, you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'll never do anything again in case I burst the bubble of how cool I am. So one of those factors plays, and then you start lots of things but never finish them. And if you just see something through, you can learn so much more about yourself. You don't have to put it on the wall and show your friends, you might just burn it that night, but that's okay. So I'm here just to sort of during that durational thing to see what I can do when I push past the awkward middle bit. I may encourage you to do so, I may not. You might just think nothing of it, but that's what I think of when I'm doing this. You have questions, mate? Yes. Yes. The question was, do I know when the lightning strikes as I'm writing it? Sometimes I know it's a solid composition, it really works, but I don't know how it's going to sound because I don't play these instruments, so I can't imagine myself playing in a violin section or a cello section, so that's up to these musicians to bring to it. So I don't always know. No, sometimes I think it's awful and someone messages me and says, best ever, mate, or vice versa. So you can see, come and talk to me about this recording, CD, little copy of the score you can put on your frame at home, very nice. It's weird, I don't always know. And sometimes I write something, because I tend to write these slow, lugubrious ones, and these guys, I'll play it faster. Oh really? All right, and then suddenly, oh my God, it's meant to be faster. So I can't always tell, because it's early. The rub here is that I can't work on this piece again tomorrow. I have to write another one. So that's the rub, when maybe if I learn something about this today, I might improve it tomorrow, but that's what I can't do that. Question over here? I don't start constructing tomorrow now because I want to sleep, dude. Like I already have anxious dreams, like I have to finish a piece of music by the time I wake up, just for being here. So I can't start to plan tomorrow yet. I just need to sleep. Yeah. The software does play back, like all music software it does. The sounds are terrible, absolutely awful. Gives no indication about live instruments. And the reason why I need this is, like I press play and it plays it back, is because I can't read that. Even if I condensed that to a piano score, which is what proper composers, all the dead ones do, I can't do that because I can't play the piano. I don't have the skill. You might have heard me play a few notes, but you did not hear me play piano like Chopin today, because I can't. I use it to check harmonies, that's all. So I need it to play things in time for me because I can't check it myself acoustically. Question? Someone else ask? Oh. How did I get this job? I thought of it and pitched it to the museum. What a dickhead. Yeah, it was my idea. Yeah, there you go. And before day one, 251 days ago, I'd never done this in a day. I've done composition, but I've always, someone comes to me for a work and I spend months writing it. Never done it in a day, just thought it was a good idea. They bought it, oh fuck, now I've got to do it. So now I'm doing it. Yeah, odd. But on day one, the eve before day one, a complete personal meltdown because I knew I had to show up and write something out of my brain with nothing prepared. Couldn't bring in a sketch or an idea. I didn't know what to prepare for. So it's like in the amplified version of what we do when we're at home, sitting in a lounge room, going, "Oh, I want to draw a picture of something or other." You don't know what to draw or what to write. It's that kind of empty space, and there's no such thing as writer's block, or the blank page is no such thing as writer's block. It's just your anxiety about putting something down that you don't think is worth it. It's just about putting a pen down or a chisel down or whatever your tool is. There's no such thing as writer's block. It's just whether you think it's worth it or not. Right then, shall we give 251 a shot all the way from the top? Shall we? Okay, let's see what today's like as a complete piece.
Oh, that's a yellow card, right?
Yeah, I know.
There we go. Thank you, thank you. Miranda, Fran, Will, Brett. Right, there you go. That was today's. Should we play yesterday's? God help us. Fucking hell. Yesterday feels like a panic of, just like you feel your mouth full of loads and go at the page. That's what yesterday feels like in comparison to that. We'll play it anyway because shits and giggles. Any questions, anyone? Yes. Kind of, yeah. You'll hear the next one. You hear the next one how things can be a bit different. I've tried to write some kind of jazz chords because like classical is not my thing. It's not my history. So I obviously put my groove and my harmony into it, but they also kind of press upon me. So I guess my history of playing Latin and jazz and rock and all the things I did inevitably comes into it. Yeah. So I ain't no hiding. Yes. Hard to say. Well, if I started with a melody, the rhythm would follow a nanosecond later. If I started with a word, the music follows. If I started with one follows the other really quickly. So there's no like writing 5 minutes of a melody and then backfilling with harmony after. That's not the way it goes. They tend to follow each other through all the time. So it might be one first, but very quickly they'll pull the rest with them. That's what that works for me. Yeah. I guess. I don't pick my own musicians. I get them when they're available. Yeah, there's about a dozen who fill in a roster, and these are all Taz Symphony players, and they're very busy people. So.
None of the musicians he picked were willing to show up.
That's right. Yeah, so the ones I wanted couldn't come, so I've got these guys instead. That should have been my line first, shouldn't it? Yeah. And there's one more question before we play. Yes, was there? No. Oh yes. Oh, don't ask them how they feel. Oh God, don't talk to the musicians. All right, how do you feel?
Oh, I didn't hear the question.
How do you feel about doing this? Daily. If I can answer.
The fee is excellent.
Look.
No, you go. I talk too much.
It's kind of a fun challenge, I guess, like for us, because you can put your own expression into the music. We work with TSO, as you said, and it's sort of always following someone else, or we kind of have to follow him, but not. We can kind of put our own ideas into it, and then the sight reading part's just kind of fun, actually. Yeah.
There is much more complicated music than the stuff I write, but they would rehearse that at home in their pajamas, and you wouldn't see it. So this is unusual. Rehearsing in front of people is not something that they tend to do. That's yeah. Right. Yesterday's piece. Yesterday's piece. Was that day 200 and what? 50. Day 250. I can't even remember. Did you need me? We didn't. This is yesterday's piece. Yeah. 1, 2. Oh, sorry. Did I do it before? Oh.
Didn't bother me.
No, didn't occur to me that I was conducting. Do you need? Okay. Am I in the way? Do you need me? Really? I just want to drink. Okay, here we go. From the top. 1, 2. That was yesterday's. Okay. We've been playing for 35 minutes. We could play today's piece again or another one, or we could just bugger off and go look at a vagina and drink some wine somewhere else. And if you have to catch the ferry, don't rush, you don't need to leave yet. Has anybody got any questions you'd like to ask? Would you like us to play another one? Yes? Today's again or something else? You can't decide, can you? What would you like to do? The war one? Yeah?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do this one again. Okay.
Dealer's choice.
Good. Here we go. This is from one of the earlier ones. Sometimes when you go, you know, the lightning strikes. This was a day.
I should have picked day one just to spite you.
Day one is a shocker. Just don't look it up. Don't look, and you can look it up. I'm ashamed to say. So every one of these days, hand this around, please, Miranda. Thank you. Every one of these days here at 4 p.m. is live streamed. There's a camera on the stand right here. So they'll all go to YouTube. Dean Stevenson 4 p.m. You can watch them all again. Including the day we're here. There's lots of 251 hours of me waving at my mum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so here is one from day 147. Thank you, this is the last thing we'll do for this afternoon, and you can see on your way. Come sign a mailing list if you'd like to know more about 4 p.m. and the future of the project, the book coming out, and some recordings. As I also have a Patreon, so you can have all of this live, the last take of the day gets sent to your inbox. If you're interested in that, there's an album here, you can buy it from me or upstairs, or come to the Henry Jones tonight, 6 to 9, I'll be swinging on double bass. There you go. This is day 147, and I wrote this shortly after the war in Ukraine, which is still going, began. So that was what I was thinking of on that particular day. It's not always, I don't always have an inspiring thought or an inspiring way, but this particular day I didn't. Not trying to represent the country, the people, or the war, but it's just how I felt on the day. Miranda, Fran, Will, and Brett. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to do what I do, but go and make some stuff and be proud of what you do. Tune in to the 4 p.m. future and have a lovely weekend. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.